But I think we just wore them on Sunday for as long as they fit us.
Were they matching?
Mm-hmm. Well, Lucy and I were, pretty much the same size, until she shot up and I didn't. But she, of course, and Lucy was more athletic than me, and she told you girls about being on the basketball team. Well, I tried out for it too, but I was really half-hearted about it because I wasn't that interested in sports, and I knew that I wasn't going to get selected anyway because I was probably the smallest girl that showed up. But Lucy was good. She was a good athlete. Yeah, she was good at a lot of things, your mom. Yeah.
Okay, so how about, do you recall your parents having a garden, growing fruits or vegetables or anything?
Yeah, they had a garden, although it was really my mom was the one that loved gardening, and they always had a few tomato plants, maybe half a dozen or whatever. And I think she planted cucumbers because everyone loved cucumbers. And we had a pear tree, with a partridge in a pear tree. And that did bear fruit. I guess it was easy to raise pear trees because they're not too huge, and you could pick the pears pretty easily. But, that was pretty much it. And the gardening basically was Mom's, Yeah.
You spoke about this a little bit already, but can you talk a little bit more about your chores around the house?
Well, because I got that job, I wasn't expected to be dusting and mopping, I was just too busy.
But when you were littler, right? You guys had chores.
Yeah, when we were littler, both of us, we used to have to dust the furniture on Saturday. The dining room table, I remember getting under there and having to dust those round pieces. And of course, before we dusted that, like a couple of years before we were into dusting, we used to play under there, because there was a nice flat piece where you could put your dolls, I guess, or whatever you had. So we used to do that a lot, your mom and I. Yeah, I do remember that distinctly.
All right. What do you remember about having a radio in the house? Was it like a big deal? Did you sit around it? Was it a floor model? Was it a social gathering for you guys?
No, we always did have a radio, but nobody sat around it, We were too busy dusting the rest of the furniture. And I think that I'm not sure, but I think your grandma maybe listened to some of the soap operas, maybe just one or two, but I'm not really sure about that. But actually, thinking back about her, she would have found that educational anyway, just to get her English a little bit better, by listening to the radio. So, yeah, we listened to the Lone Ranger and what they used to have of soap operas, but not much. We were busy.
Oh, you were saying you thought you remembered having a record player. Is that right? Or no?
Yes, I think somebody must have given it to us. But it was really small collection of records.
Okay, so why don't you just kind of freewheel talk about Grandpa and where he worked, your dad, where he worked.
Well, he worked for what they call the DSR, My dad, yeah. He was that's the Department of Street Railways. And it was buses and streetcars in those days. But he worked in their supply room, I guess. And so he would bring us home pencils sometimes from work. Because I think he would just kept track of materials and I don't know what, but it was a pretty menial job, but it was very steady, and it was like a city job. So he was fortunate enough to work right through the Depression. So we didn't have, that serious lack of money, and
Yeah, you weren't as poor as a lot of other people.
Yeah, and we knew that, he knew that he was getting a paycheck every week or whatever. So we were very, very lucky. Like your dad's family, his dad also worked for the DSR, but he worked on the streetcars. And in those days, they had the streetcar, had a driver, and then in the middle of the streetcar, there was I forgot what they called him, the guy that took your money.
Like the ticket taker or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what your paternal grandpa was doing. And that was not so steady for some reason, I don't know. So they were in worse off condition than our family was. Although they had a car, but the boys were never ever allowed to drive that car,
Really?
you know.
I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah, nobody ever drove that car. In fact, there's that, I don't know where that picture, I have a picture of your dad standing near that car,
Yeah.
but they never got in it. So, yeah.
How did Grandpa get to work?
The bus or streetcar. Yeah, I think it was the Crosstown bus.